guys, and welcome back to the Back to Me podcast, where we let go of everything we are not so we can take the path back to our truest self, our most powerful self, and our most fulfilled self. So today's episode, I'm going to talk about something I'm doing right now, which is speaking. Because often people ask me, how do I become a better speaker? I coach a lot of people who are entrepreneurs or high-level career professionals, and they have teams, they're team leaders, and they have to speak to people a lot, or they have to give a presentation. And I think there's actually a few episodes in this topic, okay? Because people say, how can I become a better speaker? Okay, how can I communicate more effectively? And I've been speaking about this for years. I think the most important skill to learn for any person, for loads of reasons, is influence. It's mastering the art of communication and influence. I think that's the most valuable skill. I think for you to get what you want in life, you have to be able to influence other people, because everything you want, other people have. So if you want a promotion, you have to be able to speak to a boss. If you want more sales, you got to speak to a client. If you want a new boyfriend or girlfriend, you have to be able to speak to show your value, show who you are, show your character. Like, speaking is so powerful. And there's so many different elements in speaking, from the body language to tonality to the intention, the words, to everything. There's a whole lot in it. So when I was thinking today, which will I talk about first, when it comes to how do I become a better speaker? And, I think a lot of the questions I get asked lately are entrepreneurs who want to make more sales. I do a lot of sales training, a lot of influence training for entrepreneurs and business owners. They want to sell more. They want to influence more. And then the second most common question, how do I speak better in front of people? If I'm networking, how can I walk to a group of people and communicate? If I'm doing a presentation, how can I speak better? And taking all that into consideration, I think the most important part, because I don't just think of you speaking, I think of why do you want to speak? And you want to speak better because you want a result. Like, why do you want to be a person of influence? Why do you want to be a better speaker on stage? Yes, you want to be more comfortable and so on and feel better about yourself. But ultimately, it's because you want a result, right? You want to get the result you're looking for. You want to influence people to see your way of thinking, to understand your value, your product, your service, your character, who you are, or whatever it is. But you want a result. You want the outcome. So when I think of that, my instinct isn't to give you tips to be a better speaker. My instinct is to give you tips to get the result. So when it comes to communication influence, my instinct now is what will give you the best result possible? What's going to help you get the best outcome possible? And ironically, it's not speaking at all. It's actually listening. Okay, so for you to become a better speaker, you have to first become a better listener. I want you to set the intention to master listening. I talk about this. There's some companies I train regularly. There's some groups I train regularly, either monthly or every 6 months or yearly. And I'm always saying the same thing about listening. Listening like your life depended on it. There's so many benefits to listening. Number one, you're going to understand what's really going on and what's really being said. But number two, you're going to learn so much about the person, the situation, the event, and yourself. Listening is a gateway. It's the gateway to everything. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're a career professional, you're a team leader, ultimately it involves the service of others. And the secret to greatness, as Jim Rohn said, is the service of others. Everything you should be focused on is how can I be of value, deliver value, and, for me, under promise and over deliver in terms of what the exchange is. So if someone's paying you for something, how can you over deliver? Okay, no matter what it is. And you can only do that if you truly understand the client, the customer, the other party involved. And you can't understand anything if you're always talking, if you're the one always speaking. You have to get better at listening. Now, to really be a great listener, you have to be very good at some aspect of speaking. And that aspect is asking questions. Okay, so the kind of the prequel to the listening is asking the right questions. Everybody's always trying to tell. There's a famous thing in sales, telling isn't selling. This is not, stories sell, but that's for another podcast. But when you're always talking, when you're always speaking, when you're always telling, you're not going to learn anything. So one of the things I teach in sales training I do with companies and entrepreneurs is how to gather intelligence. Gathering intelligence means gathering information that you can use that's going to help you build that bridge, that education, that understanding, build that relationship between you and the other person. Okay? And how you do that is by asking great questions and by listening like your life depended on it. Okay? So some of you guys think you're great listeners. I guarantee you're not. Because listening is something that takes your desire to reply out of the equation. Listening, truly listening, takes your desire to reply out of consideration. It's not important. Truly listening means your mission is to understand. Your mission is to receive not just the words that are being spoken, but what's behind the words. Okay, I teach my clients all the time to read between the lines, read the emotional signals. Everybody has a on-stage mask that they're wearing, like a front. But then, like every show, there's a backstage behind the curtain. Real masters of influence can see what's behind the curtain of emotions. Okay, what's beyond the words leads to the truth. The truth is often behind the words. It's not always in the words. Okay, so you have to search beyond that. That comes with time, repetition, experience. But when you can set that intention at the beginning, especially if you're young, guys, if you're young and in business, if you're new in your career, your Bible should be questions and listening. Okay, can I ask better questions and can I listen better? And most people, as you know, listen to reply. They're waiting to jump back in. Listening like your life depended on it is way beyond that. It's listening so you can understand. It's listening so you can gather more intelligence. It's listening so you can learn. Okay, so that's a huge message for you. If you're listening to this podcast, I'd love to challenge you this week, this month, to start listening more. Can you ask better questions and can you listen? Can you begin to master the art of listening? A couple of things happen when you do that. And I think the first thing, coming back to the point of becoming a better speaker or becoming a person of influence or someone who's better at communication, you want to get the outcome, right? You really want to get the outcome. And sometimes when you really want the outcome, like if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, you're trying to make a sale and you end up talking too much, okay, it's really going to affect your ability to close the deal because number one, you're not going to get the information, the intelligence you need from them. So you're going to talk too much, the deal's not going to be done. But what happens is when you really want something bad enough, you get nervous. When you really want something bad enough, you get nervous, you get anxious, you start overthinking, you start overanalyzing everything you're doing. And if you have a script or you have a sales technique that someone's taught you for a product or a service, and you're trying to focus on that, and then you get nervous, you're going to forget everything. It's all going to get mumbled and jumbled. So one of the beautiful things about when you focus on listening is it takes the pressure off of you. When you listen, it takes the pressure. Make a note of that. When I listen deeply, when I listen like my life depended on it, it takes the pressure off of me. Because your attention is on them. It's not on you. So you begin to relax. This is one of the gifts. And that's why I said today I want to focus on the outcome. Because you want to be a better speaker, but ultimately you really want the outcome, right? You want the sale. You want the promotion. You want your team to respect you and follow you and like you. Okay, maybe you don't care if they like you, but you want them to follow you and respect you to get the job done. Maybe you want a promotion. Maybe you're in your relationship you want to improve. Or you want to, get someone into a relationship. Maybe you're dating. Maybe you're nervous meeting new people. Maybe you're at a network event and you're nervous. Like I know a lot of people, they're nervous at network events. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to sell themselves because they're so worried about telling and selling themselves all the time. So again, today I'm focusing on the outcome of being a great speaker. The outcome of being a great speaker is getting the result, getting the deal done, the deal closed, business, personal, or otherwise. And the secret to do that is to be a better listener. It's as simple as that. So when you focus on that, it takes the pressure off of you. Now you can relax a bit. Now you can relax because you can ask a good question, you can listen. And then when you listen, you're going to learn more about your person. You're going to read between the lines. As you get better and better at this, you're going to see what's really going on. You won't necessarily, believe everything you hear. Like amateurs believe everything they're told. Like for me, I know very quickly when people aren't telling the truth. I can feel it. You can sense it because I've been doing it for so long. Even instinctively, intuitively, I could do it as a teenager. But as a coach, I'm trained. I've trained myself, conditioned myself to listen. And my listening goes, I don't even have to hear the words. I can see in the eyes. I can see in the body language. I can feel when you get really sensitive to it. You can feel the energy. Okay, so that'll tell you everything about the person, whether it's a client, a customer, your boss, your business partner. You have to read the room. And emotional intelligence is huge these days for people. I think a lot of people don't know or don't have emotional intelligence or thinking with your feelings. Be able to see beyond what's actually on the surface. Being able to feel the emotions of the other person, label the emotions, to see are they acting and speaking from fear, from arrogance, from ego, from doubt, like what's really going on. Okay, so today I just want to bring that to front and center in your mind. If you're a career professional, if you're an entrepreneur, you want the outcome, you want to make the sales. Switch your focus from trying to impress people with your vocabulary, impress people with your knowledge. Focus more on listening. I was young and in business, and I was 26, 27, traveling around the world, building sales teams. I had so much knowledge. I was obsessed with knowledge. I was the number one speaker in this company, and we have 50 countries. We went from how many countries at the start? I think it was 900,000 users in 15 countries to 47 countries and 15 million users. I opened up loads of new countries. I did all the sales trainings in the English-speaking countries for this company, and I remember I was an expert, and I could explain complex aspects of the business better than anybody. But the downside was when I thought I put too much value into how well I could explain things. I remember it was a huge shift for me when I realized, because I was so knowledgeable, I was such an expert, I was focused on being the authority, which I was, and that's massively valuable. But when that came too much into play, I wasn't focused enough on listening and understanding the client or the prospective client's perspective, okay? Their point of view. What's for them? What's in it for them? What's interesting for them? I was really focused. I'm an expert. I'm an authority. I'm going to give you all the information you need. And I was given too much information. And I learned that. And it was a beautiful gift to learn that, to realize, okay, I don't need to we call it fire hosing. Can you imagine a fire hose, how it blasts out water? A lot of people in sales fire hose. Okay, they drown and they smash the people with information and knowledge. And let me show you, tell. So when I switched that focus to let me demonstrate quickly my authority. Let me demonstrate quickly my levels of certainty, why I'm an expert. But let me focus on you mostly. Let me figure out who you are, what makes you tick, what are you looking to do, what do you want to achieve, what do you want to get from this interaction. And then I could tailor the rest of my information based on what they gave me and who they were. And that's what I do today as a coach and as a mentor. Even when I speak on stage to an audience, I rarely know what I'm going to say before I speak on stage. I always go out and I look at the audience, and I feel I go into the room. If it's an event where there's other speakers, I look at the room first. I feel the room. I think, what do they need today? What are they looking for? What kind of personalities do we have? And even if there's hundreds in the room, you can still get a collective energy feeling. And that's what I do. I've always done that. I remember in Chicago, we're doing a tour every 4 days in a different city. We did about 7 or 8 cities in America. And in Chicago, there's 200 people in the room, or more actually, maybe 300. And the guy said, what's your topic today? I said, I don't know. I'll just feel the room. And the guy was like, what? There's like over 250 people outside. What are you going to do? You can't just feel the room. And I said, I'll feel the room. I said, I had done a couple of cities, and I can feel when I talk about something and they're not ready to receive it. And even through the camera now, when I think about the podcast, when I sit down, my camera guy David's always laughing because I never know what I'm going to talk about. I just decide. I never have a plan. I just come in and say, maybe I'll talk about this, or I have one sentence and I'll go from there. I want to imagine who's listening to this. What will they need right now? We did it just before this episode. And I give it based on feeling, okay, based on intuition. And so I do that. I did that day in Chicago, and I remember the guy came up to me. I'll never forget. It was in the DoubleTree Hilton in Skokie in Chicago. If anyone knows Chicago, you'll know that hotel. I said, how did you do that? And my intention was always to give what they need, not what I want. Okay, and that's how I believe I built an organization, 20,000 people in 8 countries. That's how I've been teaching sales for over 15 years. That's why even on the cruise ships, when I was 23 years old, out of 147 cruise ships with 2 people doing my job on every ship, within 3 months, I reached the top in sales out of 150 ships almost. I was always in the top 2 or 3 in sales and number one often in those first few months and the rest of my contract. And that's why they offered me any ship in the world, the highest commission, because my sales were so good. And the reason my sales were so good is because I was so interested in other people. I was so interested in who they are and what they want. And then I navigated my communication to match them. So we could do a whole series, guys, on communication here. And let me know if you'd like me to do that. If you like this entrepreneurial episode, if you like this kind of practical tool for success for life, if you want more business, influence, leadership, sales, all that kind of stuff, entrepreneurship, let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram. Comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Send me a comment. Send me an email. All my information is below in the description. Like, let me know if you'd like more on this communication stuff because I love it. I could do it all day. But I knew at that time, even on the ship, I was focused on what they want. And that's the key, guys. That is the absolute key. And listening is going to give you that. It's going to build that bridge to find out what's really going on. And that's perfect for relationships. It's perfect for business. It's perfect for your job. All aspects of your life will be better when you focus on listening, asking great questions, which is the coaching philosophy. You often hear me say that a great coach asks questions to bring that's what I do as a coach. I bring your truth to the surface. That's kind of my tagline as a coach. I bring your truth to the surface. I bring it out of you by asking the right questions and by listening. Okay, so listen again. It's going to take the pressure off. Notice as well, by the way, if you're doing presentations and you notice when you get nervous, you talk more, you should be very aware of that. Because sometimes when people get nervous, they talk too much. So be aware of that. Ask a question. Have anchors. Okay, I teach this to my clients. Have anchors kind of ready that when you notice you're getting a bit anxious, you notice you're getting a bit nervous, that okay, I have to ask a question. Have some questions lined up ready. Okay, have a couple of questions in your back pocket ready to throw out when you feel like you're starting to talk too much. And then you can ask a question. And that gives you time. That gives you time to breathe. It gives them time to share about themselves. And that puts you back in control, actually, of the negotiation or the consultation. Whoever's asking the questions has the power. Whoever's asking the questions is leading the conversation. And you've often felt that when people ask you questions, you can feel on the back foot. Okay, now your objective is not to put them on a back foot. Your objective is to understand who they are, what they want, so you can provide that if you have it. Okay, so listening, guys, is such a key part of influence, of communication. You're going to learn more about yourself as well, because when I'm coaching clients, I learn so much. I feel like I'm getting wiser every day, actually, because when I'm coaching my clients, I'm learning. I keep hitting this mic today. I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much from my clients because I'm hearing their stories. I'm hearing their journey. I'm guiding them. I'm asking questions, but I'm listening so much. I receive so much from my clients. It's unbelievable. So it's not just about me teaching them. It's actually me learning as well. So I really want you guys to take something from that today. I want you to use this. It doesn't matter what business you're in, what career you're in. Also, this goes without saying for your personal relationships, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. Listening will change everything. Yeah. And when people can feel that you're really listening, you'll stand out to them. You'll separate yourself. Not many people are listening to that level, listening like your life depended on it. So I guarantee you what you'll notice in your relationship is people will feel more comfortable to open up more and more once they feel they're being heard. Because oftentimes we're communicating in relationships, but maybe we're not actually listening. We're like, yeah. We just pretend we're listening. We're listening to what they're saying, but we're not hearing what's really being said. Again, what's behind the curtain? What's behind the mask? What are the emotional signals? What are they telling me? Don't think about what they're saying. Think about what's the person feeling. And I talk about this again when I work with people on sales, when I work with sales teams. I always say, don't worry about an elevator pitch. it should be more of a test drive. You want to give people a test drive. When people are with you, the question you should be asking is, how do people feel when they're with me? How do people feel? So that's why it's like getting a test drive, because when you test drive a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a McLaren or any of these sports cars, or even a nice Mercedes, you get into it, you feel like, wow, I feel the power, I feel the comfort, I can smell the leather, I hear the sound. It gives you a feeling. When you try on nice clothes, you get a feeling. When you walk into a luxury hotel, you get a feeling. How do people feel when they're with you? So you want to be someone influential. You want to build a big business. You want to be successful in your job. You want a promotion. You want your dream partner. You want to be sociable. You want to be able to network. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to listen. You have to be able to build a bridge between you and everybody else. That's your mission. Okay? And it has to be a priority. And, this episode today, if you start to use it, it's going to be a game changer for you. It's going to be a game changer, because now every interaction, you're going to realize I'm giving a test drive. People are getting a chance to feel me. And how you can make them feel the best is by making them feel heard. They're going to feel the best when they feel heard. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody has a story, and people just want to be heard. And everyone's around noise. Like, even on social media, people are talking to you. Everyone's an expert. So we're always being bombarded. Now you're being bombarded by me, but I hope it's useful for you, that you can get something out of it. Okay, but when you can be the difference here with people, when you can be the one who's doing the listening, and someone's with you and you're giving them a test drive, that they're heard, that they're valued, and when you can reframe it back to them, a great strategy for listening is when you reframe back what they've said. So when someone says something to you, you reframe it back to them. You say, hey, it sounds like, and you repeat what they said, or you paraphrase it. It seems to me like, what I'm hearing is, like, these are ways of demonstrating your listening. People are like, wow, this person's really listening to me. And that helps you also, not only for them feel so good, but they also feel then that, well, for you, it helps you clarify. They feel heard, but then you are clarifying. So now you have a better understanding. So again, you're going to learn more. Okay, so listening is a two-way street. It's for both people. Both people win. If you truly listen, both people win. If you're always talking, maybe nobody wins. Okay, so when you reframe back and you say, it sounds like, or it seems like, or what I'm hearing is, they feel heard, they feel valued, you get clarity, you also get further intelligence, right? So we call it gathering intelligence. You're getting knowledge. You're gathering information that you can utilize. And of course, that's with integrity. It's not for manipulation. But you want someone, if you have a solution, you want people to understand that you have the solution. But if you don't understand what it is they're looking for and why they want it and how they want it, you can't give the solution. Even if you have it, you can have bars of gold in your pocket, but you couldn't give it away for free if you're not listening to who the person is, what they want, why they want it. So again, listen beyond the words. Take everything in. Listen to the emotion. Hear the tonality. Hear the speed of their voice. See their eyes. See, are they smiling? Are they happy? Okay, just what are they feeling? So I think that's a good place to start. We can go on for days about listening. We can go around in different streams out of it. It's such a big pond here, listening. It's so beautiful. It's so deep. We can dive deep into listening. But I think I've given you enough today to start or to restart. Maybe you were a great listener one time, but again, you're caught up in your opinions. You're caught up in your conclusions. That's why I teach my clients to question everything. The more conclusions you make, the less alive you become. You have to start to question things. So you need to question your behavior with people. Because there are certain relationships, friendships, you sit down and it's always the same person doing the most talking. It's always the same person kind of saying the same thing. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. Because we're so used to, our brain likes a reflex, it likes a habit, it saves energy. So we tend to repeat cycles over and over again. So maybe this is your kind of wake-up call a little bit to recheck yourself, to say, am I listening? Am I really tuning into people? Am I hearing what's really been said? Because remember, the mission is always education and understanding both ways. That's how you can have harmony. Harmony is found when you truly can listen. It only takes one to build that rapport. It only takes one. You can lead that. Listen to the other episode about taking responsibility. It's not them, it's you. Focus on asking great questions and listening like your life depended on it. That's going to be the first step to making you a great speaker, is by being a better listener. It's funny, you wouldn't think, you think I have to be great at speaking. You don't. You have to be great at listening. Because the more you listen, the more information you will gather, the more knowledge you will gather, even the more your vocabulary can expand. Because if you listen deeply to everybody, you will notice words, phrases that will give you a greater vocabulary. And the greater vocabulary you have, the better understanding you can have of situations. Because if you observe a situation, guys, you can only understand it based on your vocabulary, right? Because you're going to think thoughts with your words that you have to help you understand the situation. So your understanding of a situation is dependent on your vocabulary. But your vocabulary is dependent on how many words, sentences, phrases you learn. Your ability to learn new words, new sentences, new phrases, new terminology, new insights comes from your ability to listen. So this should be the title of the podcast: How to Improve Your Vocabulary by Listening More. Okay? So listen more, your vocabulary improves, your ability to improve, your ability to read people improves, your intuition will improve, and that's going to make you a better speaker. You're on your path to becoming a person of influence now. Therefore, you're going to make more sales. You're going to get that dream partner you want. You're going to build relationships with your boss. You're going to get that promotion. Everything in your life is going to be better once you start listening. Isn't that just miraculous? This came together beautifully in the end. I'm super excited. It all makes sense, right? Let me know in the comments if you liked it. If you liked this episode, leave a rating, please, guys. I'm determined this year. I'm determined with surrender. Surrender. I'm determined with surrender for this podcast to grow. What I've put out so far, people are loving. I want more people to really hear it. So if you leave a rating or you share it with someone, it's going to help more people see it. And that's how you give back to me. And it's all about giving and receiving and giving and receiving. Do you remember that episode of Friends with Joey writing the speech from Monica Chandler? And said about giving and receiving and giving and receiving. That's what we're doing here, guys, at Back to Me podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Let me know if you like this episode. Hit me up on Instagram at Aidan O'Brien Official. You can send me a DM. Let me know your thoughts on it, what you liked about it. If you want more, we can do a whole series on communication. If you like it, I love communication. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. It's something I feel like that I've learned so much on my journey as well. And I used to have a course actually, Mastering the Art of Communication Influence. And then I put it into my Ascension program as part of that. So yeah, and if you want to learn more, if you want to work with me one-to-one, if you want to be part of my group coaching, because even though the group coaching is back to me, we do a lot of deep healing and letting go and the bigger picture stuff. We do topics as well on business. It's personal, it's professional, it's all aspects of life. We deal with everything because life it's all interconnected, right? So that's it for today's episode, guys, on how to be a better speaker, how to be a better communicator, how to master influence. I really hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait. You did a great job listening, by the way. You did a great job. All of you now for the last half an hour have done a great job listening. Well done. Continue the rest of your day. Continue with your friends and family. Listen like your life depended on it. I'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. If you'd like to find out more about working with me, you can visit theaidenobrien.com. That's THEAidenobrien.com. You can find out more about what I do, my coaching, my mentoring, or if you want me to deliver a training or a keynote for your company or organization, you can do everything through theaidenobrien.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Aidan O'Brien Official. I love hearing from you. Like to know if you're enjoying the podcast or maybe there's some topics you'd like to hear more of. You can find me on Instagram. Also, I have a YouTube channel under Aidan O'Brien, and also the Back to Me podcast also has its own YouTube channel. So make sure you share this with a friend if you like what you heard. Again, love to hear from you, and I will see you soon.